Bud Elliott. That's Danny Cannell. I'm Chip Patterson, coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, which has been rocking and rolling. I mean, we're sharing locks in there. We're like 2 hours of everybody pulling up, hanging out, sharing their locks, getting going. We are fired up about it. Bud, glad you're okay. Everybody in Florida, if things are not okay, our thoughts are with you. You got a lot of putting back together from Milton, but we're excited that everybody here seems to have made it out all right. Okay, now, not necessarily making it out all right. Let's do a recap of Week 6. Let's see how everything.
What are you guys talking about? Yeah. Week 6 was awesome.
Oh yes, that's true. Okay, for Bud, it was a 4-7 week. That is a win on Texas State -13. That is a win on the Houston team total over 16.5. South Carolina team total under 21.5, and the Louisiana Southern Miss under 58. The losses were Louisville -6.5. The Sam Houston UTEP first half over 24.5. Clemson, Florida State first half under 24. Tennessee -13.5. Penn State -27. Washington team total under 21.5, and Western Michigan -9. Thoughts, notes, what are we taking moving forward?
Yeah. So always just look at the losses. Washington converted in the red zone, so they beat me on that. Tennessee was a bad one. Clearly, they lost on the field, as was Louisville. Based on how it played out, I think I would probably bet the FSU Clemson under in the first half again. And I would also, I'd still fire on the UTEP thing just based on how it got played. Didn't get that one home. Western Michigan, man, just couldn't play any defense. Holy cow. So, another bad week there, man. Just not locking it up for the people this year.
That is so for 4-7 for the week gets you to 27-32 on the season. It was a 6-8 week for me. The losses, just hate to lose a Latifah, but Louisville -6.5. They just could not get stops against the Smooth. Also taking a lock fight loss to Danny Cannell, as I was on Missouri. He was on Texas A&M. Also losing that over 44.5 Ohio State, Iowa. Thank you, Buckeyes, for your effort in the second half. We almost got home. We did not. Penn State -27. Yeah, maybe that's just sick. Michigan +2.5. Tennessee first quarter -3.5. USC -8. And the Baylor team total under 16.5. All losses. However, we did have some wins up there. Syracuse UNLV over 58 on Friday night. Sam Houston -10. That's just a good football team. Navy -9.5. Cal +10.5 late night Saturday night. And the Georgia Auburn first half under 28. Boise team total over 47.5 hit by halftime. 6-8 for the week has me at 34-35. 34-35 on the season, but our lock agreements are now 1-4. So I know that
made the agreements clearly.
Yeah. I was going to say last week, you're like, oh, I'm not going to let you run away with this Penn State pick. I think we need to think twice, about jumping in, because clearly when we see it the same way, it has not been profitable. Then the week winner, just climbing out of the hole. Danny, you got the week winner for our top 25 picks on Tuesday. This was somebody who was in his zone. Don't let him get in his zone. 6-3 for the week, getting that lock fight win with Texas A&M. TCU Houston under 52. Ohio State -19. Pitt -2.5. Then Cal +10.5 and Iowa State -11.5. The only losses, that Louisville Latifah loss, the under 48.5 in Missouri Texas A&M, the under 41.5 in Indiana Northwestern. What are we thinking? What are the lessons we have moving forward?
If it wasn't for Eli Drinkwitz kicking that weak field goal, I would have been 7-2. That's the lessons you learn. The lessons you learn is shoot or shoot. Just keep shooting. Just keep firing away. I'll be doing it again today. Feels good.
Love that. Love that energy right there. So for 6-3 for the week, 23-39 for the season. Tom, it was a 5-8 week. The wins: Texas State -13, TCU Houston under 52, Ohio State -19, the Ole Miss-South Carolina under 52.5, and the USC-Minnesota under 51. The losses, Army in the first quarter -2.5. That was just preposterous. They scored too fast. Missouri-Texas A&M under 48.5. The Michigan-Washington under 41.5. The Navy-Air Force under 37. The Purdue-Wisconsin tripped up again under 45.5. The South Al -3, and Baylor-Iowa State under 45.
As Danny mentioned, Eli kicking that field goal was horse crap. Just words I won't say on the show stuff. The Army first quarter freaking hurt because they did exactly what I expected them to do. It's just they did it in a minute and a half instead of the typical 7.5 minutes they usually take. So that one sucked. Purdue, what the hell? Seriously. But other than that, I mean, just the losses were losses. Like along the Washington-Michigan one, it's kind of the same lines as Bud. Washington just did a great job of actually getting touchdowns instead of settling for field goals, which kind of killed the play there. And then as for Navy and Air Force, it happens. Never going to stop firing.
All right, lessons learned. Let's get that out of here. Let's get our eyes ahead. Gentlemen, y'all ready to lock it up?
Let's do this thing.
Sure.
Since 2005, the under in games between service academies is 40-9-1.
We're picking locks.
Give me an over in this one as well. A little 2-for-1 special.
Don't get these locks.
I was a sicko last week. Y'all were watching the good games. I was live betting the hell out of Kentucky.
My Blue Plate special 5-star locks are coming.
5-star master lock. Lock it
You
up.
want these locks? I'm living and dying every point, every cover.
From the locking chair to your eyes and ears, let's get it started with some Thursday night action. 3 games on tap. We got ourselves Coastal Carolina and JMU. Then over on CBS Sports Network, the mothership, Danny Cannell will be in studio getting you set. Halftime and recapping Louisiana Tech and Middle Tennessee.
Don't forget an hour inside college football leading up to the game too.
That's all right.
And
Listen,
post game. And post game. If you're up
Okay.
late.
All right. And then UTEP, Western Kentucky. So a lot of CUSA action, a little bit of Sun Belt. Anybody got a lock?
Music, please.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is that kind of yeah. I will say that it is that kind of thing. All right, let's go right off the top. Whoop, that's not it.
What was that?
Sicko mode. Let's go.
I'm a little bit lower on some of the teams in the bottom of the Sun Belt. If things go wrong, they could be like UMass, UConn. That's kind of like sicko mode of a sicko mode.
We are going to take Middle Tennessee State plus 4.5 here. I don't really see why La Tech is favored by this much. I mean, to me, these teams at full strength or close to full strength are pretty even, and it's not like it's a 4.5 point home field. We bet pretty heavily the under in that Memphis Middle game, and it was because Middle was going to hold a lot of guys. It looked like just based on you got a bye week on deck, you got conference season coming up. Memphis is not a game they can actually win. Well, you know what? They had that bye week, and I think they'll be healthier. So I'm going to go ahead and take Middle in the 4.5 here. And I would not be shocked if they have the outright win. I am a little concerned, though, because Sonny Cumbie is taking over play calling, apparently. So we'll see what that means here.
Fight.
Yes!
Fight, 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 fight.
I wasn't going to lock it up. It is the Twitter tip for today, but if you're taking Middle Tennessee, I can't just let you get away with it. I mean, I look at these two teams. La Tech's defense has actually been good. Middle Tennessee hasn't been good at anything. I don't think that there's a huge gap between them, but if it's coming down to a game between them, at least I think Louisiana Tech can get stops. Even if their offense hasn't been spectacular this year, I think they'll be able to move the ball against the Middle Tennessee defense that really hasn't shown the ability to stop anybody. So that's the gist of my pick.
I am Danny. Anything from the game notes here?
I got nothing. I'm sitting here sitting this one out. I'm gonna watch and enjoy.
Have you ever had a sicko mode lock fight before?
I don't think we have. I think that'd be a first.
Lynn wants us to announce every pick as a sicko mode from now on to make Chip dance just to see how long he lasts.
So there,
serious. He got some blood flow to the head on that last one.
Tear his arms out of his socket.
there was one of the sicko dances last week. So somebody clipped it, and I went back and when I watched the clip on Twitter, I saw that I kind of had to like stretch a neck out a little bit, like as I was getting reset. I was like, oh, all right, okay, all right, like that. My vibes only David Cobb bump Middle Tennessee over 4.5 is definitely in trouble, but buddy, it's riding on this. So, that's our lock fight, bud. So I appreciate you being able to at least throw me a bone here. You know, I'm kind of hoping that the Blue Raiders can at least have 2 on the board, even if over 4.5 is not looking likely given the performance. Much less.
I mean, look, they already played Western. They have UTEP, Kennesaw, La Tech, New Mexico State, and FIU left. If they get it tonight, I think we're kind of coin flipping here, Chip.
Well, I mean that part of Conference USA is coin flippy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like FCS Plus at the bottom there.
Yeah, and that's a great thing, and we love it. We can't wait to watch it on CBS Sports Network.
As long as my power stays on, yes, we will.
Yeah,
if it goes out during the show, I'll text one of you guys the rest of my picks.
Yeah, never forget that David Cobb, CBS Sports writer extraordinaire, was like, hey, this Fairleigh Dickinson coach, he's got something going right now. Goes to interview Tobin Anderson at the beginning of the season, does like a whole embed with the crew, writes an amazing feature. And that same FDU team went to become the second ever 16 seed to win in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So I don't know if that magic is going to pass on to Derek Mason, but he had a similar move. All right, on to Friday. We got the Big Ten Friday night heads to College Park for some Northwestern Maryland on CBS Sports Network. Amanda Guerra on the call for UNLV and Utah State. And then late night, Utah at Arizona State. Who's got a lock?
We got any 45s?
For Utah, Arizona
Big Ten game?
Or the Big Ten game?
Yeah, there's 45s.
I'll bet over 45.
Okay.
I liked what I saw from the Northwestern quarterback a little bit. The guy that changed in, and I think Billy Edwards is really good. So I'm not entirely sure that the reason he won the job is because MJ Morris can't play or anything. I think Edwards is just a good player. So I think they can get to more than 45. I'll take over.
That's a low total.
Yeah.
So don't hate that one at all. Kind of desperation moment. I'm not going to declare it a gut check Friday, but those are two teams that are 0-2 in Big Ten play right now, and a loss for Maryland certainly would all of a sudden start to have things spiraling in the wrong direction. Northwestern hoping to be bowl eligible. Also, revenge game. Remember, Northwestern got this one against Maryland on their way to kind of that surprising season.
Mm-hmm.
Will be interesting to see. All right. Anything else from Friday night?
I'm not going to lock it up. I got Arizona State plus 6.5 in my column this week, but that line is now down to 4.5. And in some places it's at 4 and 3.5. Now that Kyle Whittingham mentioned that maybe Cam Rising is dead, maybe he just finally admitted it publicly. That line has been moving a bit, but I got it at 6.5. Not locking it up here.
I want to take that game so bad, just out of spite. I'm so bothered by the way this Cam Rising. I don't like it. And I love Kyle Whittingham. He's awesome, but I don't like the way he's handled the injuries. Save it for later.
Yeah, I know. For real. As we discussed earlier, he is only making me more spiteful by coming out and being like, yeah, we've discussed a scenario where he shuts it down for the year. Makes it sound like you already made that decision.
I think he'll be back. Not this game, but I think he'll be back. If I had to guess.
Do you think this is like a Sixth Sense situation where Kyle Whittingham doesn't understand?
It's a Big 12 title race. That was the more to the quote was Kyle Whittingham telling them is like, yeah, we'll see where we are in the standings.
You don't think he plays, Bud? I know Bud's always
Tonight?
super
No, I
down.
don't.
Or Friday?
Or Friday? No, I don't think he plays this week.
I'll save the spite. Give me the under.
Ooh,
I'll
44,
be a little
45.
bit of a 45.
I get you
Right?
45 and a half.
Perfect.
Love that. All right. Coming up on the other side, we turn the page to Saturday. It is one of the biggest Saturdays on the college football schedule for 2024. We'll give you our best bets next. All right, let's begin down in the Cotton Bowl with Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry. 14 and a half, what, like 49 and a half, like we're dealing with it's a key number bowl right there between Texas and Oklahoma. Who's got a lock? Am I the only one? Or we got
I
some
got
others?
one.
Well, there's some 14s out there, so let's
And
hear.
there's some 50 and a halves too, Chip.
Ooh.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Neither one of those matter to me because I'm trying to cash a winner after 30 minutes of football because I'm going to be taking Oklahoma first half plus 7.5. The principle here is that, number one, we've got Quinn Ewers' first game back in action. I think that the plan will be to run the football and kind of build the game. Like your classic, like Steve Sarkisian set everything up for what's going to be happening later. Oklahoma's defense is really salty. I think that they can force, in the first half, what do we think? Texas will probably get 6 possessions, maybe? Does that sound
Probably
okay?
not 7.
Yeah.
Like what's the tempo from OU going to look like? I guess would be the question, right?
I think it's more about them getting stops. Like I think Oklahoma plus 7.5 is really about being able to force field goals, get red zone stops, being able to force a couple punts, that it just limits exactly where we're going to be. I think that Oklahoma for the full game is a little bit too much given the talent deficit, but for all the rivalry reasons, for the Quinn Ewers back reasons, and for Oklahoma, like whatever you've got in terms of a fastball, in terms of trickeration, like you need to get out there and you need to empty it early. If you're Oklahoma, if it's Texas, I think you can build the game. So yeah, I like 7 and a hook heading into the locker room at halftime. So I'll take that with the Sooners.
I'm not thinking entirely different than you, but I'm just going to take the full game under 50 and a half. I was thinking of taking the Oklahoma team total, but I haven't had a lot of success with team totals on the Locks Pod. Of course, I haven't had a lot of success with much on the Locks Pod this year, but I feel like this is a game where I don't trust Oklahoma to score very many points. I don't think this is going to be the typical Red River where it's going to be like a 52-45 game in the fourth quarter with the team driving to send it to overtime. I think it's probably going to be over halfway through the third, and it's going to be lower scoring. So give me the under 50 and a half.
I kind of like what Chip is doing. I don't like the Oklahoma side, but if I was going to take it, I think I would rather play the first half because of the chance that Brent Venables can confuse Ewers again and give him one look, come back with something different, right? Like that. He is very, very good about that. If you've listened to, was it Kiffin? Who was the OC when Clemson destroyed Bama there in like San Francisco adjacent stadium?
In
Like
18?
Yeah.
Was it
I forgot
Chad
who it
Moore?
was. They've talked about how that was like just an absolute masterclass from Venables about like he just tricked Tua 3 or 4 times in a major way, like because by running different coverages out of looks they had never run it out of before that year. Like that's it. And Danny's talked about that before, right? Like some guys are just really good of, you think about offenses hiding this kind of stuff, but defenses do it too,
The Vikings are doing a very good job of it this year.
Now I've heard McElroy talk about how he feels it's inexcusable that that Auburn ran the exact same blitz beater 2 weeks in a row in the SEC in a critical situation, which led to the pick 6 there. And he's like, you just can't do that. Like we would never do that. Basically, like under Saban, but he said it in a more like eloquent way. Venables got them last year though, and I wonder if he can really do it again. I really think that Texas is going to win the Joe Moore Award and has the best offensive line in the country. And so I think they can block Oklahoma pretty well. And I'm going to go ahead and lay the 14 here with Texas.
For Texas?
Yeah.
I get that.
Let me check something. Tom and I like the way Tom was leaving, but I have a bunch of unders, and we're 2 and 4 in lock agreements. Me and Bud are 1 and 4 in lock agreements, so I will sit this one out. But I lean with both of those guys.
All right. All right. So we got Texas and Oklahoma on the board. Got a couple locks. Do y'all want to go to the club? Okay.
What club is that?
I'm talking about Club Kins.
Oh, go.
We got music.
It's walk-up music. Wow.
Chip, I mean, you really answered my prayers there. You knew what I wanted.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I got you. All right. Kins Brooks in the house right now for her weekly visit. What are we liking here looking at week 7?
Well, I mean, after a crazy football weekend last weekend, I'm happy to at least have gone 7-7, given the way that the turn of events went. Did not hit last week. Hate to see that. I'm back on the revenge tour. Now that I have backup music, everything changes from here on out. And a little birdie told me that 2 of you do not agree with the pick I'm about to give, which is, that's a little tough. But I am going Kansas State here, laying the 4, fading Colorado. The reason being, anytime Colorado plays an actual pass rush like Nebraska, they get killed. Okay? And yes, they barely beat Baylor. They beat UCF, but UCF gets whooped by Florida. So it's like, how good is UCF really? And now that we're playing an actual pass rush again, you have Sanders under pressure. You got Travis Hunter trying to prove to the world he belongs to be the Heisman winner. It's just too much. It's too much going on, too much sauce for them. So I think I go with Kansas State here. The sports line model, Coding Crew, makes it a 9-point victory for the Wildcats here.
Oh, no, come on. Oh,
You don't believe.
no. I ran through that bull junk you wrote down. I ran through that. I skipped through all that.
All right. So, like, what's the deal here? I heard you guys aren't in.
Who believes? Come on, tell me who believes?
She don't believe.
She don't believe. Come on.
The only thing I've got in this game is Avery Johnson's rushing total prop over
Yes.
by a lot.
It's what, 60 something?
60 and a
Yeah,
half.
I might have laddered it, or I'm going to ladder it once they,
So Chip has all these, because I have a play in this game. Chip has all these fancy drops. He's got all this, his home. He's got this whole studio at home. I'm going to go to my technology because there's a theme to a lot of my picks this week. This is the start of them.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
I'm eating the dogs this weekend. I'm eating the dogs. Give me Colorado, home underdog. I do think that's a big difference, Ken's. Playing at home in Boulder, it's going to be lit. They're going to be you like that one, Tom? That is not a political statement.
Did your wife approve you saying lit?
I put on a backwards hat one time. Put on a backwards
hat. Staying lit. Gotta stay hip for the daughters.
I'm having a serious midlife crisis, but it's all good.
I'll come over from these recruiting camps and I'll be like, yeah, bet, babe. She's like, what? Like, what? Why are you?
Hey, I don't know what the numbies say.
I got to get out of here quickly.
But I do like Colorado this weekend. I like them. Shador gets rid of the football. He'll get rid of it. I think he'll be all right. I think they'll find a way to score. And I'm very curious to see how Avery Johnson plays in this game. He's been a little bit up and down. I know he bounced back against Oklahoma State. I think Colorado's defense has actually been showing me something.
This is one of those games where I've been so high on Kansas State all season, and this might put them on my S list if they do not come through for me, along with Missouri. So this is a very telling time for Avery Johnson. I hope he's listening here.
That Missouri game did not make them on your S list already? We need another one?
No, they are currently.
Okay.
Kansas State. Yeah, Kansas State would join because Kansas. That's back to what, August, July. Like we've been like, Kansas State.
And we're like, this week. This is the week.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my last straw with them. Then I'm out.
Who's the second person who I've got a Colorado play, but it is like very specific.
I think it was you. I think it was just you taking any version of the other side.
Okay. All right. So it's Colorado in the fourth quarter plus 1.5. Okay. Oh. So many ways to win.
Wait, is that fourth quarter you said?
Colorado in the fourth quarter. Because you know who doesn't stop throwing the ball? Shedeur Sanders. So if Colorado's down by a bunch and Kansas State's just trying to salt it away, all we got to do is go score for score or outscore them. And if Colorado's up Well, they're not going to like run the ball or sit on it. No, they're just going to stay aggressive because we got to get out there. We got to get those yards. We got to get those touchdowns. So Colorado, which does not have breaks, it truly is all gas there when it comes to that Buffs offense. Colorado in the fourth quarter plus 1.5.
I do like the getting specific here in week 7. I went with one of my plays for this weekend as a second half over for that Oregon-Ohio State game. But I don't want to, get into that if you guys are off track with that. But
is that a lock?
We got to stop giving out edges like this on the show. I mean, let's. I mean,
what do you mean?
There's a couple of those out there that are like they're really, really big every week. That one's a pretty good one, I think.
The second half over.
Yeah,
no, like some of these like first like fourth quarter team to score last type stuff.
Wait, we're supposed to do this. This is service journalism.
Wait, isn't Bud the one that came in here and started giving all these alternative bets? Like he how
the tables have turned.
Moneyline dogs.
All right,
do you
want to throw that second half over? What is it for
27.5?
Okay.
But like Ohio State, I mean, it was 7 points in the first versus 28 in the second the week before. Oregon's just an air raid by the second half. And then you got your defenders maybe starting to lose some steam. And since it should be a close game, maybe we get some overtime, which does count towards the second half over for those wondering at home.
Lock it up. Put it on the board. Let's go.
Yeah.
I always come in here with one and I leave with like 3.
I want a number on it.
27.5.
Okay.
I think this is a good live betting game.
Do y'all want to thread that needle? Y'all want to thread that needle? Because my lock is the first half under.
Chip, let's make a treasure map again.
Let's do the treasure map. Yes. I tell you what, we were sitting on what was it? Tuesday's show on CBS Sports Network. Everybody's talking. We talked ourselves into an Ohio State podcast, and everybody's talking all this talk. And I start working on this feature for CBSSports.com, and I'm like, oh yeah, when they beat Michigan at number 3 in 2003. Oh yeah, when they beat like a top 10 Michigan State team in like 2014. Oh yeah, because I'm basically building the moment type stuff, like the very vibesy side of this. And I am feeling coming around a little bit more to the idea that the Ducks could win this game than I did when it was a little bit more cold and analytical on Tuesday. But with a big, massive game like this, the way that Ohio State has handled its business, it really looks like the kind of feel each other out, heavyweight fight. So I'm going to go first half under.
I do like that.
26.5. All right, listen, if we're doing this, I'm going to do it. Ohio State third quarter -0.5.
Okay, yeah, they are the best third quarter team.
Ohio State in the third quarter this year has outscored its opponents 84-3.
I'd like to make a 4-leg parlay that includes one team to win a first half, one team to win a second half. We go Ohio State to win the third, Colorado to win the fourth. I think they let me do that.
That is, yeah. I mean, probably that is the thing, though. Like certain coaches are better scripters, and certain coaches are like kind of poking and prodding to see what they can come back to, you know. And
like Andy Reid,
it's not crazy. Yeah, like it's not crazy to bet. There's some combinations you could probably figure out that are not priced appropriately there.
I'll look into it for us, gentlemen. I'll let you know. I do, however, have about 6 NFL games I'm talking about in 15 minutes, and I don't know what I'm saying. So with that, it's been a pleasure.
Underdog.
All right. See you, Kens. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right. I have another actual more traditional play for this game as well.
I do too. Go ahead.
Just give me Ohio State, Oregon under 53.5.
I like that.
I'm going to lay the 3 with Ohio State. Like, I didn't love laying the 5 earlier this week, but at 3, I'm just going to bet Ohio State. I think they are just a little bit better. And I in the preseason, I definitely saw a situation in which, Oregon could be favored in this game, right? It kind of bounced around. But part of that was based on like them gelling and them getting some of the offensive linemen back and those guys playing better. And I don't really think, that they have entirely. So if I got to lay 3, I'm laying 3. Give me the Bucks.
You locking that up, Chip?
No. The only thing I'm throwing here for the locks pod is that first half under. Also, I don't know how comfortable we haven't talked with our partners, but at FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make it any moment more, there are plenty of promotions available on this game. So if you wanted to play with the numbers here to be able to get something that was a little bit more favorable one way or the other, you might have that opportunity. Like if all of a sudden an Ohio State money line looked like minus 107, that could be something that's interesting.
That's a good price for this money line, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that's a good price for this money line. Just hypothetically, of course. And that is at FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make every moment more. I just
the key to making every moment more? Having your sportsbook up and running.
All right.
Let's not mention any more.
I got to play in this game. Okay. So we need two things because I'm going back.
They're eating the dogs.
I'm eating the dogs. I'm eating the dogs here, and it's a fight. So I'm going up against Bud. I'm on the opposite side. I think Oregon's offensive line has been playing much better. I think they are getting healthier. I think Dylan Gabriel looks more comfortable in the system. Now, he did have two big mistakes. I think he'll clean those up. You can't turn it over twice like he did against Michigan State. I also think there's value in being tested. And as bad as we thought the Boise State game was, like, oh my gosh, like, well, maybe Oregon isn't as good as we thought. Maybe that was about Boise State, who probably is going to be a playoff team. And Ashton Genty might win the Heisman Trophy. So winning that game, escaping that game with a win, I think actually makes me feel a little bit better about them now, that they've been a little bit more battle tested. And Will Howard, as good as he's been, and a lot of those players have not been in this environment, which is going to be absolutely bonkers, playing against a team of this caliber. I also think Oregon's defense will be very curious to see what they do with Jeremiah Smith, what they do to try to take away some of the big play capabilities. Can they keep him in front of them, not surrender that big play? I think Oregon's be able to play a little bit of keep away with the offense. So give me the Ducks getting 3.5.
Yeah, you get 3 and a hook, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere out there? All right.
Yep.
So let me just get that.
Fight.
All right, sweet. Anything else on this game? We're good?
I think we've got this game covered.
That we treated that appropriately. I'm glad we met the moment. Okay. 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS, America's Most Watched Network, the network of stars. You can stream it on Paramount Plus, a mountain of entertainment. It is Penn State. After their little runway wasn't long enough, but they were able to find one where they could get off and they could get to the Coliseum to go play USC. USC reeling after the upset loss to Minnesota. Anybody want to jump on any side of this one?
No one.
I'm not interested.
I'm just gonna wait. Like I just hope somebody bets USC and I can lay a better number.
Better than 4.5 or 5. Like you just want to get to 3.5.
Actually, it's 2.5 at some spots right now.
What? All right, Penn State.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm on the first half.
It's first half. Okay, I was like, wait, what?
I was about to say somebody.
I was about to lose power. If that was the case, it'd be right back in about 90 seconds.
All right, so my read on this game is the same as it was on Tuesday. I kind of think this game is won by Penn State's defensive front. That like the general inability to run the football consistently, and the offensive line creating a scenario where Miller Moss is running for his life seems like a long afternoon for the Trojans. So I'm not gonna lay this right now. I've got a hefty card already, but that's kind of where I'm leaning on that one.
I lean Penn State. My only thought is I don't really trust either one of these coaches right now in this situation.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating
Give them to me. Give me the dogs. There are way too many road favorites this weekend. We saw
cross-country road favorites too. Yeah,
1-8 against the spread when traveling across 2 time zones. I saw Miller Moss get crushed in Michigan. He took a couple vicious shots. He did get back up and made some pretty big throws. I know he's coming off his worst game. If there's a replay review that goes a little bit differently, maybe USC escapes out of there as a win. I think it's a bad look that Lincoln Riley's talking about how they're so close in every single game. They desperately need this one. A little more backs against the wall. I still think this defensive staff is really good. I'm not 100% sold that Drew Aller and this big play offense is, where has the big play been? Give me USC and 4.5 yet. Is that the biggest number I can get right now?
You can get
Give me
5. Yeah,
5.
I'll take it. And again, maybe Penn State wins. I think they could win by a field goal, but I'm going to take USC.
I mean, it is gut check Saturday in Los Angeles. I'm going to declare that.
Big time.
Check Saturday.
Yeah. Gut check Saturday.
You can read about it written by me on CBSSports.com.
Gut check Saturday.
Now, down in Death Valley, we got Ole Miss at LSU.
Are you going to read the? Is that what you're grabbing your notebook with all the trends in it?
I'm just saying that the home team in this series, which of course since 2008 has been for the Magnolia Bowl Trophy, the home team is 10-2 straight up, including winning the last 4. They also have covered the spread, the home team, in 9 of the last 10. Brian Kelly is 12-0 as a head coach of LSU in Death Valley at night. Brian Kelly at home in general is 16-1. This game's best bet is penalties over. However, that is not a prop that is available on Thursday. So I'm just saying that in a game that will be chaotic and passionate, I mean, these fan bases sneaky hate. I mean, just like this is the good stuff right here. I think that it will be an electric atmosphere. And when you are, if it is a chaotic scenario in Louisiana and you are the outsider, you're going to lose. I mean, that's just the way it goes. When chaos breaks out and I'm in Louisiana, do you know what I do? I put myself on the same side as somebody from Louisiana. I'm just like, I'm going to be on your side. I will be your ally in this moment right now. LSU plus 3.5. Let's go.
Lock agreement.
Yeah, I mean, come on now.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating.
Oh,
Oh,
Keep it going. I told you. Way too many road favorites this weekend. Baton Rouge at night. Is this crazy, though, in a game where you've got a quarterback, what is he making, his 5th or 6th start in Garrett Nussmeier? And yet I trust him more than I trust Jackson Dart in this environment. And he played great in this game last year. Jackson Dart did in that unbelievable 55-49 game. I'm still having a hard time buying into Ole Miss. Playoff elimination game at home. I like LSU to cover.
Chip, drill. We got the dentist. Second time on, well, technically, if you count Sunday night, this is the second time that he's been on the show this week. I took one for the team last week with my emotional hedge, and then Vandy took all the cares away for a while, so I'm ready to get dialed back in. Give me the under 62.5 in Ole Miss-LSU. I like this one for several reasons. Ole Miss hasn't come anywhere near 62.5 in the Power 5 games this year. Their run game is damn near non-existent with 3 to 4 injuries on the O-line. Dart has struggled to hit deep routes again with the pressure he is now getting. Plus, this week, Trey Harris is questionable with a possible Achilles injury. Even if he plays, I suspect he will not be 100%. On the other side of the ball, Ole Miss defense has only allowed 3 touchdowns all year. Their front 7 had another impressive showing against South Carolina. I know LSU will be the best offense they have faced so far, but this unit looks up to the task. I think this game will be a good, tight game, similar to USC-LSU earlier this season. Point total in that game was 47. So give me under 62.5, tooth emoji, lock emoji, anchor emoji, down emoji, wave emoji, and the word Mackenzie.
Again, for the purposes of all of our human resources staffers that listen into that is not an employee of CBS Sports. It is
Nor contract.
Yeah, nor contractor. All right, there we go.
Makes your smile though.
All right, so then all right. All right, do we get Texas, Oklahoma, Penn State, USC? I think we're good. All right,
Big ones.
coming up on the other side, we open up the Saturday slate with more of our Week 7 locks. Next.
CBS CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
Sure. What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ.
That's just wrong. That's just wrong. Not cool. Who made that?
Yeah, that was some fast work right there.
That was some fast work, Mikey.
Right, let's review what we've got on the board so far. Bud is on Texas -14, Middle Tennessee +4.5, Northwestern Maryland over 45, Ohio State -3. I've got LSU +3.5, Oklahoma first half +7.5, Oklahoma fourth quarter +1.5, and the Ohio State Oregon first half under 26.5. Danny's on LSU +3.5, the Utah Arizona State under 45.5, Colorado +4, Oregon +3.5, Ohio State Oregon second half over 27.5, and USC +5. And Tom's got LSU +3.5, Louisiana Tech -4.5, Ohio State Oregon under 53.5, Ohio State third quarter -0.5 point, and the Red River rivalry under 50.5 for the whole game. All right, Danny. You did win last week, so it seems fitting that now that we've got this thing open season, to take us where you want to go.
All right, let's go. No more dogs. I got those all out of the way in the big games. I think this number's still out there. Missouri coming off a game where they kicked the field goal to burn me last week. I'm still a little salty about that. They have not been very good against good teams, but you know how they've been really good against? Really bad teams. Yeah. That number's still under 28, right? Is it 27.5?
I can get you 27.
Perfect. I'll lay them with Mizzou. Needing to get back some good graces, needing to get back some confidence. I know it is in Amherst, which is a daunting place to play, but it's not going to be lit like it is in Boulder. So give me Missouri. Big bounce back game. They desperately need this one.
Plus, if they're up 24 late, Eli will kick the field goal.
For sure. Absolutely.
I don't know what I did to that, man. Well, whatever.
UMass has not had a bye yet, right? I think there's a couple teams that have still not had the bye. Ole Miss won, UMass, a few others.
I do appreciate that you think that we just know whether or not UMass has been
off the tip.
Double checking with us. Hey, we all know that UMass has it, right? Just check it.
Of course.
The major P5 teams, I can kind of remember. I kind of know exactly who they've played so far in my head.
They have not had a bye. Their bye.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
They're taking the week off to get ready for their big game against Wagner.
Look ahead spot.
That's right. Minutemen they're taking Mizzou for granted.
Okay. Is it just 3.5 for the Pitt Panthers? Are there any threes left? I feel pretty good about it. Vibes wise, performance wise. But all right, so I'll go ahead and get into it. Best number I can get here. So Cal. While Cal was having its heart ripped out late Saturday night by Cam Ward in Miami, Pitt was already home celebrating a win over North Carolina to improve to 5-0. The way that this offense, as we've talked about with Caden Bell, he comes over, he brings Desmond Reed, great running back from Western Carolina. They got another wide receiver from Western Carolina. Eli Holstein kind of picked apart obviously a lot of people pick apart the North Carolina defense, but he seems comfortable with what they're trying to do. And while Cal under Justin Wilcox does have the blueprint of a team that's going to be really salty defensively, I mean, Cam Ward did more damage to Cam Ward than Cal's defense did with the turnovers, with some of the mistakes. And obviously, he leads that strong charge at the end of the game, finishes with more than 400 passing yards. I see a big big spot for Eli Holstein, a big game for Eli Holstein. I see a big game for this Pitt offense. I see the Panthers, one of the great surprises of the season, proving me and many others wrong. I see them improving to 6-0 and doing it by covering the 3.5.
Don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it either.
I mean, that's Berkeley to Pittsburgh after being up the late loss.
Pat's wearing the Nardigan.
Dude.
Did you guys see that video that they put out?
That was amazing. Yeah.
Well, and it follows when they played Youngstown State and he dressed up like his dad, former Youngstown State coach. And then when they ran the score up, I heard it was because he's mad at Youngstown State for firing his dad. It's incredible. He is in his bag right now.
I love Pat Narduzzi
I love Pat Narduzzi.
He is awesome.
Shout out to Pat, EJ, whole crew. That's they're having a good time right now with their season.
Can I give a wonder?
Yeah, of course.
All right, we're gonna bet a wonder. We're gonna bet under 61 in this Boise-Hawaii game. Haven't really been in love with Hawaii's offense. Boise seems to be like letting GT run, but not like keeping him in for the whole game. I think it should be like 58. So give me the under.
I like it. They Boise State plays back-to-back the 1 and 2 rush defenses in the Mountain West. One of those is Hawaii. UNLV's number 1. They play them next week, both on the road. These are big weeks for Ashton Genty. He's going to have to still put up numbers. I think it's going to be real critical for him.
He might only finish with like 195 yards.
That's right.
He's like minus 6,000 to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had internet, so I don't really know if that like is. I got a text with that screenshot. So
no, that's real.
No, it's real. Yeah.
I'm laying.
Are you gonna lay it?
I'm putting the $6,000 down to win that $100 right now.
Ashton Genty twist an ankle. Oh no!
They don't exactly offer a no price there.
Yeah. All right, I can rock with that. Tom, where do you want to
go? Let's see here. I'm going to go with another under of my own here. Give me the under 60.5 in Clemson and Wake Forest. This feels like one of those games where I don't know if Wake will be able to score at all. And then it also feels like a spot where we've seen Dabo do in the past, where once they get up, they're not gonna, like they've shown the offense is quote unquote fixed enough this season that I feel like they're confident in it. And then maybe if they get that big lead, they're kind of just going to do the old, all right, let's just get out of here and be gentlemen stuff. So under 60.5, Clemson and Wake Forest.
I got to play here.
Got 61.5 on FanDuel there.
There we go.
Let's go.
That's a good one. Let's go Clemson first half minus 10.5. You mentioned the way that the Tigers have been handling their business. I got a little misguided with this analysis, trying to think that Florida State fourth quarter was the play. It's just how Clemson has a negative 7.2 point differential in the fourth quarter, as they have been very gentlemanly throughout this. A lot of that was NC State, which
a lot of guys getting some playing time.
Yeah, a lot. They are going deep on that participation report. Like all the Sweeneys get in there. Like all the Sweeneys, all the Herb Streets, all the Venables, like everybody gets in there when we get into these fourth quarters of Clemson blowouts. We had looked at this, and Danny, I know I mentioned this earlier. We looked at this as like the maybe hangover spot for Clemson based on Florida State. That game didn't have the same kind of stakes. I think it might be a hangover spot for Wake Forest, which poured it out, come back from 10 points down in the final 10 minutes to steal a win against NC State in Carter Finley. So let's go with Clemson to get that strong start. I'll go again, Tigers first half minus 10.5.
The game line is 20.5, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I'll just lay them. And if Tom's right, I'll feel better about that. Our buddy David Hale put out a tweet about Cade Klubnik's stats, comparing his numbers to what Trevor Lawrence put up his first 5 games of his second year as the starter and Deshaun Watson's second, like comparable stats. He's crushing it. It's not even close how much better he's been playing. Again, I've said, I don't know if it's just because you're not playing Georgia, if that's what the biggest difference is against some of these teams. I think Florida State's defense is pretty good. And I thought they really showed good effort in that game. So I'm not too concerned that they didn't have those offensive fireworks in that game. I think they do in this one. So I'll go ahead and lay the 20.5.
Yeah, Mike McClure was like, watch Cade Klubnik's Heisman price. Like, I don't think I don't know if anyone's picking Cade Klubnik to win the Heisman, but he's been going up the board in a way
They do bets to make it to New York because that'd be a fun bet.
I don't know why they don't have that market. Like, I know it's tough to.
It's really tough to handicap.
Well, is New York one of the things that would have make it difficult is back when we had like an uncertain number of guys who make it. Now it's just 3, like by rule.
No, it's 5.
Okay, well, then that's why it's still really hard to handicap. Okay.
Right. Yeah. That makes it more fun. That's all the reason to have a bet there for it.
Like, how do you price it appropriately if you don't know how many guys will make
Thoughts
it?
and prayers to the books.
I know.
Now, if you could do like how many total points or votes or something, you could price that. Like, there's some kind of like there's a finite number of votes that are available. Like the slots is not something I guess you could.
But just do it like you do the prop market. You put them out, but just put a cap on how much you're willing to take on it.
Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense, right? Like we're really worried about some of these props, but yet like we can play games with injuries on major markets where guys can get like 10K on a game on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
right. But we're worried about $100 on a prop because somebody might be hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's solid.
Bud, where do you want to go?
All right, let's go to North Carolina actually, and I'm going to lay 4 with Georgia Tech. Maybe North Carolina's just done. Maybe they're not. But like Pitt could have made that game worse last week, as Chip noted. I mean, UNC really didn't score much. They had a pick 6 in that ball game. I'm confident in Tech to go on the road here. Tech actually was handling Duke pretty well until a kind of a crazy pass interference call right before the half, and then they slowed down a little bit. But I think they'll crank it back up. I think they can go into Chapel Hill and get the win. So I'll go ahead and take Tech -4.
Gosh. Me and Bud are 1-4. We need to get to 2-4 though.
I think Chip wants to fight this.
I want to lock it up. Give me let the children sing.
All right.
I think Georgia Tech's probably better than their record is. Their losses haven't been awful. I trust them way more than I trust North Carolina in this spot. Jeff Collins over there calling the defense, the former Georgia Tech head coach. I like Georgia Tech.
Yeah, there is a Georgia Tech. There is a Jeff Collins revenge game angle to this that's a little bit interesting. I know that we're a little bit separated from the coaching transition, but if we were to check the tape, I remember our reactions being like, man, that same roster is playing a lot better since Jeff Collins is gone.
Yeah.
Brent Key they are fired up to play for Brent Key more so than they were looking at the beginning of this year. And, Jamal Haynes actually, second David Hale shout out here. David asked Jamal Haynes at the ACC football kickoff if he was going to try to go crazy against the Jeff Collins defense. And he was like, oh, I'm going to put a number up for sure. But he said, I have nothing but respect for, he gave all the stuff that you need to say around it. But the pull quote was, oh, I'm going to put a number up for sure. I'm absolutely not going to fight that in the against the spread portion of this program.
In the against the spread portion of this program.
In the against the spread portion of this program.
Listening is key, guys.
All right. Where's Isaac at? Come here, Isaac. Y'all, anybody want to jump on board with me? Huh?
Are you going over? You going to lay it with clones?
No. Are you kidding me? No. West. Yes, Isaac. We're going West Virginia. Let's go. Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah. There we go. There is very little about the personnel that suggests that West Virginia is a great bet. There is very little about the hard analysis like the cold robotic computing of this game that says that West Virginia is, a great bet. But college football is not played across 10,000 simulations by a model. No, sir. No. It is played by 18 to 22-year-olds performing under immense pressure in the midst of the ups and downs of a college football season. And as I detailed, I think that West Virginia is playing, and I say this in a complimentary way, probably playing with as much confidence and maybe capable of playing above its head. And when you get into that stadium with Iowa State's little number beside its name for a game that's going to kick off at 8 Eastern time, give me the points with the Mountaineers.
I hate it.
Give me the points to the over 53.
Okay.
I mean, you're watching that Baylor game
52.5.
last week. What now?
And get you 52 and a half.
Well, I'll take 52 and a half. Perfect. I just don't think West Virginia's defense is particularly good. I think Iowa State's defense is pretty banged up. I like both quarterbacks in this game relative to some teams' quarterbacks. I don't think Green and Becht are amazing, but I think they're like at least competent. So I think this could shoot out.
I like that.
I want to watch this game. I'm not betting it, but I want to watch it.
I mean, this is a Big 12 game. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's go with a great Big 12 game. By the way, the tailgate coming through great. I use that phrase about 18 to 22-year-olds. I've been using it for years. I now have to adjust it to 17 to 35-year-olds to take Jeremiah or to take Ryan Williams and Cam Rising into consideration. It's a little bit of a different college football now. I understand.
The good news is we know Cam Rising won't be getting any older because he's dead.
That's right. R.I.P. Tom? What are we looking at for what we have?
I have 5 left on my card.
I got a decent number left.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more vibesy this week because haven't had a lot of internet.
Haven't had a lot of time to really.
yeah, but I who knows?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a light week for me. I only sent Mikey about 19 potentials, so I'm trying to scratching some off, moving some around. Tom, why don't you let it spray?
Washington, Iowa over 41.5. I think the number's a little too low. I know it's an Iowa game, but like Ohio State took away Caleb Johnson. I don't think Washington can do the same thing. And I think that Washington's passing offense, I mean, Will Rogers is pretty good about not making mistakes. I think they'll be able to kind of, dink and duck their way down the field enough to get, some points on the board. I think it's not going to be a shootout by any stretch, but 41.5 points ain't asking for a whole lot.
Iowa overs took their first loss of the season last week, but man, they were close there in the second half. I've got to play on this game. Anybody going to fight that or agree with the total?
I mean, honestly, Washington Rutgers should have flown over this number.
If they'd converted and not missed.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. If you look at how they move the ball, both teams.
Give me Iowa. I'll lay the short number. If there's a 2.5 out there, I would like that.
No buy yet for Washington.
Look, no buy yet. Cross country off a huge win at home against Michigan. And now a great welcome to the Big Ten type spot for the Washington Huskies, because I'm going to call back to what Deshaun Foster told us, where he was talking about. He's like, yeah, this seems so simple, but it's like the stadium size. You go through a Pac-12 schedule. There's a couple of places that can kind of, make your eyes bulge a little bit. I think that Kinnick will be ready for Washington. And so, yeah, give me Iowa minus the short number.
So you're saying that Will Rogers isn't prepared for a large stadium after spending his career in the SEC and then at Husky Stadium?
Oh no, I'm talking about the linebackers, with all that crazy new age motion that Tim Lester's got. All of a sudden your eyes are distracted, and then no, there he goes, running away. It's not about Will Rogers. It's about how disorienting it is.
Gotcha.
Danny, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm ahead of you guys, but I got one more on here. I'll go South Carolina versus Bama. I think the inclination would be to say, oh, Alabama's just going to open up a can on them and show them, let out all that anger. I don't know if I trust them that much yet. It's an interesting number, but I do think Bama's defense, I don't think their problems are fixed, but I think it helps playing against Illinois Sellers, who I don't know if he's going to be able to exploit some of the weaknesses in the pass game that Diego Pavia was able to. I think South Carolina's defense is still pretty good. Only giving up 27. I know it was an ugly game, but I think, containing Ole Miss and not allowed them to go off makes me feel a little bit better about my play. I'll go under 49.5.
Get you 50.5.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll go under.
In case somebody goes for 2 in there.
I got one. Mississippi State, Georgia. Give me under 55.
Yeah.
All right, look, you got Texas on deck for Georgia. Beck, to me, looked like a little dinged up just when he was running around. I don't know, how much you want to air the ball out late. If Mississippi State returns to their crazy tempo stuff, like that they did not do with the quarterback out for the year against Texas, then maybe this loses. And maybe it loses anyway, right? Anything's possible. But Georgia run game last week seemed to find something a little bit. I thought Etienne looked pretty good. I think more of a ground game here would make a little bit of sense for them. And if you're Mississippi State, you watched some of the Peyton Thorne design rush stuff a little bit against Georgia. A couple of those were okay. Got a pretty mobile quarterback there in Starkville. I could see a heavier run rate in this one. So give me under 55.
Lock agreement.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I can't help but think back to what Mississippi State did against Texas and be like, all right, they're going to come out and try to do some 15-play, 10-minute drives here and then kick a field goal.
And I will. Do you want to guess what my lock is for this game?
The over.
For the fourth time this season.
Oh, I can't.
First
no
half
idea.
under in a Georgia Bulldogs football game. I saw it at 28.5, so I love that. Yeah, and in addition to Georgia first half unders as a general principle, Tom, I was thinking exactly like you were. Mississippi State's approach to the Texas game has me feeling like we are going to see something very similar.
If you like first half under, you're going to love full game under. But yeah, let's go cash.
Were you thinking about going first quarter under 2?
I might. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's do a same game parlay with this. The under in the first half, and the full.
Yeah, I got the first half under 28.5 as my lock there. Staying in a little SEC corner, I've seen something that has made me so upset, really distraught. It is one of the most disrespectful things that I've seen by anyone who claims to be objective and who has witnessed everything we've seen this college football season. There is no way in hell you're putting 15.5 as a Vanderbilt team total. I know that Kentucky seems to have a good defense, and they've got some dudes on that defensive line. But you are going to limit Diego Pavia to less than 15.5 points? No, sir, you are not. We go Vanderbilt team total over. Guy is riding a heater. We do not get in his way.
Along the same lines, I'm on Vandy plus 13.5.
God, another disrespectful number.
Yeah, I mean, listen, based on our conversation Saturday night, maybe there's a slight hangover, but Barton is not on the sideline during the game. So
he's not on the field.
Neither is the dentist. Neither is the
I'm
dentist
not worried
either.
about the team. Maybe Barton's still got a bit of a headache going on, but give me Vandy plus 13.5.
Oh my gosh.
I got another one since you gave a team total. I'll go to the third Saturday in September in October. Florida, Tennessee. Tennessee's loss against Arkansas was bad. I think we've talked about it. I don't think that was on the defense. I think the defense has still been really good. Florida's offense has put up 17, 20 points. They did have the big game against Mississippi State. That's almost an outlier. They did have the offensive breakout of 24 points against UCF. I think Tennessee's defense is really good. Knoxville at night and sort of a desperation. Got to have it to keep your playoff hopes alive and to have a rivalry come in there. I'm going to say Florida team total under 20.5.
Don't hate that at all.
Don't hate that at all. I went full game under at the beginning of the week, and it's moved against me. It was a chip line value on that one, 54 and a half, and now all of a sudden it's 56 and a half, and you're like, oh, interesting.
So like this entire thing kind of comes down really to, and a lot of this weekend sort of all correlates to like how bullshit is UCF. Okay. No, I'm serious because
I like this. So Pepe Sylvia, this thing.
Like, let's do all these little dots. Okay. So like UCF comes and Colorado runs all over them. Okay. And we praise Colorado for being more physical, and they actually were. But also, like, UCF wasn't even aligned correctly on a couple of these explosive runs. I mean, it was just legitimately pretty bad defense. And then UCF can't pass the ball 2 weeks in a row against Colorado and then also against UF, and KJ Jefferson looks like materially broken. Like, if you're betting Colorado this weekend, you're sort of like, yeah, that was more about us than it was UCF. If you're betting Florida this weekend, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm confident this defense is kind of fixed and not that that UCF's offense is broken or that UCF as a team is broken. So just a couple little things to monitor this weekend. I really don't know the answer. Like, I don't think UCF is broken, but they're not in a great spot right now, clearly. So I don't know. The other thing on this one, Arkansas has some pass rushers. Florida has not so far this year. I mean, Miami, A&M had like no resistance to that. They got after UCF though. So we'll see if they can do it again against Balls.
All right, Tom.
All right, I got two quick unders here. I'll just throw them out. App State, Louisiana Lafayette, under 65.5. And Arkansas State, Texas State, under 64.5. I think the numbers are a little high. That's all there is to it.
Fight on that second one. I will take over 63.5.
Fight.
Oh, is there 63 out there?
Yeah.
Fight.
Okay. So I don't know how much you guys watched that Texas State Troy game. I bet Texas State pretty good in that one earlier in the week, and I guess 14 wasn't a bad bet either. But Texas State kept like losing players on defense in that game. I was like, this is concerning, and Troy kind of moved it on them a little bit in the second half. And I mean, to me, Troy's offense is garbage. So if Troy can move it on them some, I think personally that Arkansas State can go out and give us 24 something, and I think Texas State can score 6 touchdowns. So I do like this one over. Is the ULL just we think App is just dead?
Kinda, yeah. But my numbers just say it's a little too high. That's more than anything.
All right.
I'm hurricane rules for App. Not touching them for a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
How many got left, Chip?
Well, I mean, anywhere from 1 to 5.
All right, I'm done. So you guys go ahead.
I'm done. Well, I'm not going to pull the trigger on this one. BYU-Arizona. What do we think?
I have no idea. It's a Big 12 game.
I mean, Okay, Baylor's defense looked terrible last week. As Iowa State looked really bad against BYU. It looked fine against Colorado for the most part. How bad do we think it is? Right? Because BYU scored on them. That's the only game in which BYU's offense has looked decent, right?
But it's also BYU daytime.
Facts. Yeah.
BYU daytime, BYU nighttime.
It's hard to get caffeinated enough to really make that a crazy environment by that time of the day. You need a little more time to drink.
Caffeine, to drink caffeine. or chocolate milk or whatever you need. My lean on that, I'm not going to throw it on the locks card. My lean was under 49.5. But ultimately it seems like a fair number. So we've already got a pretty robust lock card. Not going to throw anything crazy there. Okay. So one of these teams went to Corvallis last week, had their heart broken, couldn't get it done, lost in double overtime. And one of these teams came through with the touchdown passes that they needed. Of course, I'm talking about Ken Niumatalolo's San Jose State Spartans. San Jose State is a very short favorite on the road going to Colorado State. I will take the Spartans to win, and at 1 or 1.5 or 2.
I can get you one.
I guess I'm taking them to cover as well. So yeah, give me San Jose State. I think they are the better football team.
Fight.
Yes. Let's go. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I needed to be
Fight.
I needed to have True TV on the screen this weekend. It really is going to be one of the best college football Saturdays of the whole season, and I need to be here. So all right, you give me your side of this.
Thought Colorado State run game looked a lot better last weekend against Oregon State. And Oregon State to me is a little more physical of a team than San Jose is, and I didn't totally hate what Colorado State's defense did against a really good passing attack in Colorado. Like eventually it broke, but early on they kept it in check some. So maybe they can duplicate some of that here. Obviously a pretty heartbreaking loss for them, but I mean, Nevada almost beat San Jose last weekend on the field. Like San Jose needed kind of a miracle at the end to pull that out. So,
but I don't think Nevada's horrible.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. I like Nevada. Stack up the Mountain West top to bottom.
Jeff Choate, really good coach.
Yeah, I kind of like where Nevada's at.
Go.
Nice. All right. Well, I was sitting here looking at the sheet. I was like, we got one Latifa and nothing else. Now I've got me a lock fight. Now I feel alive. Glad I let that one fly. All right, who do we have on True TV? If I'm gonna shout them out, we'll see Ari Wolf, Darius Walker, and Nabil Karim.
Oh, I love that crew.
There we go.
Big fans of the show.
They are huge fans of the show. All right.
You got anything left?
No, I think I'll go ahead and keep it holstered for now.
I really did want to make a play on BYU with what he has given himself the nickname as the BY Jew. I mean, on Yom Kippur, how can you lose that bet? But I'll just refrain from that one.
The Yom Kippur call is fantastic.
I mean,
if we're gonna get suspended, shouldn't we just dump it all in one show? Just so we all get like a week off.
No. Look, hey, no, that was listen.
He's asked about it. He was asked about. He considered sitting out on the High Holy Days. It's been an amazing story. He's playing really good for BYU too, and he did say he likes being called the BY Jew. Like that's his self-proclaimed nickname.
So will it be a fast start or will it be a fast start?
That's right. And he also said he is not fasting because of the competitive disadvantage it would give him. So,
I mean, Modiar went through it.
Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm. He did. I mean, that was a long one too. That wasn't this. That was the long one. That was Ramadan. That was
I think that was Ramadan.
40 days or 3 weeks. It was long.
Yeah, all the way to Ben Middlebrook's getting some shout out. I mean,
he was eating all the leftovers.
Yes. Because it's the ACC basketball media days are this week. So and as I told you, the triangle has largely just moved on. We've kind of flipped that page. So all the local media is just like basketball media day. Let's talk about that Final Four run. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll review all of our locks for Week 7 and give you our money line sprinkles. Next.
A Quiet Place Day 1 is now streaming on Paramount Plus. It's thrilling, terrifying. It will make your heart pound out of your chest. A Quiet Place Day 1, now streaming.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast as we review all of our locks for week 7. Bud is on Texas -14, Middle Tennessee +4.5, Northwestern Maryland over 45, Ohio State -3, Boise, Hawaii under 61, Georgia Tech -4, Iowa State, West Virginia over 52.5, Mississippi State, Georgia under 55, Arkansas State, Texas State over 63.5, Colorado State +1.5. I've got LSU +3.5, Oklahoma first half +7.5, Colorado fourth quarter +1.5, Ohio State, Oregon first half under 26.5, Pitt -3.5, Clemson first half -10.5, West Virginia +3, Iowa -2.5, the Mississippi State, Georgia first half under 28.5, San Jose State -1, and Vanderbilt team total over 15.5. Danny's got LSU +3.5, the Utah, Arizona State under 45.5, Colorado +4, Oregon +3.5, the Ohio State, Oregon second half over 27.5, Georgia Tech -4, Missouri -27, Clemson -20.5, USC +5, the Alabama, South Carolina under 50.5, and the Florida team total under 20.5. And Tom's locked in on LSU +3.5, Louisiana Tech -4.5, Ohio State, Oregon under 53.5, Ohio State third quarter -0.5 point, the Texas Oklahoma Red River rivalry under 50.5, Clemson-Wake Forest under 61.5, Washington, Iowa over 41.5, Mississippi State, Georgia under 55, Arkansas State, Texas State under 64.5, the App State, Louisiana under 65.5, and Vanderbilt +13.5. And
the chat wants one more to make it equal.
So
Got one?
All right.
Thomas, I asked you a question in the private chat.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so.
Okay. I'm not all about being equal. Let's go 2 more.
Oh, man.
Give me Georgia Southern over Marshall. What can I get here? 1.5? Are there any 2s out there? I'll take that 1.5 with Georgia Southern. I don't hate their run defense all that much, to be honest. Marshall's a team that wants to run the football, and I do think you can throw a little bit on Marshall. So give me Georgia Southern to win that ball game. And this is gross, but sort of with the same principle, why we took the Georgia under with a really big game on deck. You know who Illinois got on deck?
Mm-hmm.
They got Michigan. Purdue playing a backup quarterback, right? Or is Card's out?
I think I haven't heard that.
Okay. Well,
is that why the line's been moving though?
That's again, I haven't had internet. That's just what one of my group texts said. Hey, Illinois got bet, Card out type thing.
Yeah,
so,
it's been flying.
Yeah, because that line is jump.
Yeah. I'm going to go under 48.5 here. Illinois does not exactly play at a crazy high tempo. Purdue, on the other hand, did play at an insanely slow tempo after firing their air raid offensive coordinator. We saw how this worked out when Mississippi State played Texas. So unless Illinois has a real incentive to run this thing up like crazy, again, Walters, the Purdue head coach, was the DC for Illinois back when Illinois' defense was rocking. Under 48.5 for me.
I can go with it. And this Moneyline Sprinkles segment is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Looking back at last week.
Hey, FanDuel's got 2.5.
Well, there you go. Make every moment more. All right. Bud cashed with Texas Tech +210 and Wake +190. No wins for me last week. I had South Carolina and Michigan. Neither of those came home. Danny with 2 more winners to his name. Texas Tech also on that one. He also took Florida +126, and Tom came home with Syracuse +217 and West Virginia +135. That has the standings as such. Chip on Moneyline Sprinkles 7-9, up 7.85 units. Tom 10-14, up 5.97 units. Bud 3-9, down 2 units, and Danny 7-15, minus 5.8 units. All right.
Totally forgot about my Cal plus 355 bet until just this very moment. So that's feeling wonderful.
Let's start with Arizona on the money line against BYU. Daytime Cougars, daytime Provo.
Yom Kippur.
Let's
betting risk.
Let's continue with North Carolina on the money line against Georgia Tech. And let's finish it out at 8 p.m. on the ACC network, where it is a true money line, alt line scenario. Because as my buddy Josh said, either Syracuse is going to win this thing by 20 or Dave's going to get the pack up off the mat and go get them. So give me NC State to do just that after that heartbreaking loss. Little local pair right there. Little North Carolina and NC State home dogs. Let's just go ahead and just take them to win. Vibes only.
All
right, Tom.
I've only got 3 this week, as opposed to my typical 5 or 6. I'm going to take Wisconsin plus 120. I'm going to take Washington plus 130. And then I'm going to take Cincinnati plus 140. Climbing a little bit of a ladder.
Cincinnati at UCF. That's a game that we have not talked about once on this show, but
Bud did the Pepe Sylvia earlier, and I mean, yeah, we're gonna find out whether this UCF team what it is this weekend. I think, and I think I have an inkling.
Sorsby's been doing really well too for Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3. I love the home dogs. Give me LSU. Win the game outright.
Yep. Give
me the Mountaineers. Win the game outright. And the last one, this is not a so UCLA, another one. UCLA
love that one. Love that one.
UCLA has played. I mean, no one knew it at the time. We did, or you guys did. I don't think I jumped on that bet, but you guys saw Indiana going in there and spanking them, which they did. But their schedule has been absolutely brutal. Minnesota, I don't know if they're going to have the antidote of confidence before this game. But UCLA, how many games can you actually win? Maybe this is the first time. Curious to see what they do at quarterback with Garbers, because he was playing pretty solid. He played really good against LSU. Missed last week against Penn State. I think he's probably back, but I like UCLA to win the game.
I like that a lot. You think Deshaun Foster at the post-game handshake after beating him says it's my job. All right, bud.
NC State, totally agree with Chip there. Cincinnati. Nevada plus 148 to beat Oregon State. Like I liked what I saw there. Their run defense has been okay. Oregon State does not throw the ball super well. And finally, and this one is just absolutely gross, but somebody in the world has to like this side that I like. Or maybe they don't. I'll go Lone Wolf. Give me Rice plus 160 to not be a dead team this year. I know. To come off the bye and to pull the upset over UTSA.
I can get you 180 on Rice.
180. Perfect. I'll take 180. Love it. Like, if you look at this, some of these Rice games, they have aged a bit better than they were aging earlier in the season, right? Like, you got blown out by Houston. Well, you know what? Houston turned around and beat TCU. You lost to Charlotte. You know what? Charlotte beat the crap out of East Carolina last weekend. Okay? You lost to Army and got blown out. Army, like, treated Tulsa like an FCS team. Okay? You lost to Sam Houston. Well, you know what? Sam Houston might be the favorite to win Conference USA. I just think some of this Rice schedule is aging a little bit better as I look at it, and UTSA's is not. Like, UTSA lost to East Carolina.
Yep. That's you use the phrase upset, and it's, you get an upset price, so it is technically a money line sprinkle, but the two pictures are the same.
Right.
I like the value that you've got right there. And that Moneyline Sprinkle segment was brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Woo! Good work.
Let's go.
Remember, you can watch Danny tonight on CBS Sports Network, giving you all the coverage around tonight's game. 1 hour inside college football leading into the game. So go ahead and throw that on around 7 p.m. Eastern time, then halftime. And buddy, they'll have a PA come hold his eyes open for post game if this thing ends up like
toothpicks in there.
Gonna be bad.
Yeah, no, what was it? You texted, you're like, 2.5 hour first half.
That was the longest game in the history of college football.
Yeah.
Hopefully tonight's is just but it does. Tonight's kickoff is at 8 instead of 9, so it won't be that bad.
Correct. You should still be good on that. And look, I mean, you just got to do an A block. You know, just stick around for the A. All right.
Exactly.
We will be back Saturday night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time to recap an absolutely loaded Saturday in college football. Our raw reactions to Ohio State, Oregon, Ole Miss-LSU, as well as takeaways from earlier in the day with Red River and more. So come and join us. 11:30 p.m. Eastern time, youtube.com/cover3. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at BudElliott3. You can follow him at Danny Cannell. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See ya.